I just got back from Date with Destiny. Are you kidding me? This was a dream that I had from 1995 to go to Date with Destiny. I don't even know if it was 1995 when I heard about Date with Destiny, but we'll just go back there because it seems like, wow, big dream. So I want to share my testimony about Tony Robbins, because if you're going through any kind of struggle, like, there's resources, right? You just have to decide that the resource is bigger than the struggle. So here's my story. So it was, and I don't know, it was in the 90s. It was like 90, let's see, it would have been like 1997. I was a single mother. So my story started as a single mother. When I delivered my third child, my then husband, which was my second husband, called me and said, hey, get a ride home. You know, I'm not going to come get you. And I had 2 kids already at home. So hello, that was total, are you kidding me? Plus, my whole life had been told that I was stupid and I would never be anything. And so now I was going to be a single mother with 3 children. And I didn't feel like I had anything that I was going to be able to do to support my children. But I knew one thing. I was never going to surrender. Never surrender. I don't know. I'm not going to surrender. So anyway, so I got back on my feet. I got on my feet. I got my real estate license. I took the test 3 times. When I finally passed it, I was like, this is my freedom. I'm going to make money selling real estate, which, you know how many people have their real estate license? Oh my gosh, which I'm not a statistics girl, so I didn't look at that. I just looked at what I had, which meant I was going to go. So my first 3 months, I sold 13 houses, and it was on my bicycle. I went out every night on my bicycle, and I mean, I was with my one of my babies, my other 2 children. My daughter was old enough to stay home and watch the little baby, and I just was like on a mission. Don't stop me. Well, the thing that stopped me was my family came down and said, now come on. What are you gonna, you don't know how to sell real estate. I mean, look at you. I mean, have you even read a contract? The answer to the question was no, I never read a contract. I mean, I just knew that, you know, you filled in the blanks and said, hey, I want to buy a house, and your intent is as good as what you sign your name to, right? So anyway, so it just stopped me in my tracks. I was like, oh my God, because my parents' voice was the loudest voice in my life. And so anyway, as I started selling all this real estate and making all this money, my second husband was still in the house. Even though I knew I wanted a divorce, I was afraid to say that word because my family would then disown me again. And that, again, was the love I sought. So anyway, as the story goes, I finally got my ex-husband to move out, and I would sell a house a week. I mean, every week I would sell a house, which is crazy. I mean, people don't do that, but I thought that was terrible that I was only selling a house a week, because I never had a measuring stick, right? It didn't matter, because no matter what I made, it was never going to be enough to have what I wanted, which was for my family to acknowledge me and say, holy cow, you can do this. But anyway, so there was never enough for that, because I had this desire that was, someone else owned me. I didn't get that. There was never an answer. It was just this perpetual question. So my ex-husband saw me thriving and surviving and doing my thing, and the only way he could hurt me was with my children, because what else are you going to do to hurt me, right? I mean, you've already done everything you could do to me, but don't mess with my kids, because my kids were like my gift from God. I mean, these are my children. Don't mess with my kids. And so what he did was he kidnapped my children, and we were still married, and he had been gone for over a year. But I mean, I had no contact, no child support, nothing, no phone calls. He just was gone. And then all of a sudden he came and he took my children from my parents' house, which when he took my children from my parents' house, my dad's like, oh, finally. Oh my God, she is a terrible mother. I mean, you take these children. I mean, really, Dad? Really? I'm a terrible mother? Are you kidding me? So anyway, I got a phone call. I was in Florida, and my phone was shut off at the time, because no matter how much money I made, I was not going to be responsible, because the more responsible I came, the more my family withdrew their love from me, because they wanted me to be codependent on them. So he took the kids. The kids were gone. For 3 weeks, I had no idea where my children were. I mean, I had to hire a private investigator to find out his address, because he lived in Tampa, because he was going to college. And that was another thing. He told me that I was not academia and I would never be the capital A. Well, the crazy thing is I never asked him. I don't know why he felt the need to share with me. But anyway, so once I got my kids back, it was 3 weeks. And when I got them back, my oldest son had been bit by a dog. And instead of my ex-husband calling and getting the insurance information, he took him to the emergency room, didn't get a tetanus shot, but got the stitches, and then they went and hid in the woods for 3 weeks so that I wouldn't be able to find them. So when I got him back, it was traumatic to say the least, but I mean, just, oh my God, the reality of what the hell? I mean, what are you going to do next, right? I mean, just leave us alone. Just leave us alone. So anyway, then I was losing my house to foreclosure because, again, even though I made money, I was not going to be responsible fiscally because that was not a part of my DNA for my family. You are not supposed to do that. Even though it was never spoken, it was just a thing, right? Don't you dare. The hell do you think you are? So anyway, I was laying on my couch and Tony Robbins came on TV. And I was like, oh my gosh, I feel better just watching him. I mean, what is crazy about that? I mean, he's got really big teeth. I don't know. This is crazy. I mean, don't you dare think about calling him. You know, you've always tried stuff, I mean, my family's voice came into my head telling me that, don't even think about it. Well, anyway, something inside of me made me call the phone number. So I called, and the guy that answered the phone was so amazing. And I said, hey, do you have a t-shirt or anything that I could wear that just says maybe I'm doing this? I mean, I don't know. No, we don't have t-shirts, but I'll send you the tapes. Well, the crazy thing was I gave him a credit card number that I knew did not work because I had no credit on any of my credit cards. I mean, it was a train wreck in process. So anyway, what I did was after I made that call, I know now I got up and did something positive. I took a Tylenol because I had been crying for 3 days. I could not stop crying when I got my kids back. It was just this weeping thing came out of me. So anyway, I got up after I ordered the tapes. I took a Tylenol, and ironically, 2 years earlier, I had met some people at an open house that loved me, and they were coming down from New York. They're like, hey, we want to buy a house, we want to pay cash, and can you sell us a house? Well, the thing is, after you have that much emotional trauma, God just kind of goes in and like erases all your stuff. Whoop! And so like, oh, what's my name? Well, I mean, I was clear my name was still Shelley, but I mean, I knew nothing about where to find anything. It was unbelievable. So I went to my broker and I'm like, hey, I don't even know how to fill out this contract. And of course, he was like, why wouldn't you? I mean, you've written so many contracts. I had lost all my physical bearings. I mean, my emotional rubber band had been stretched so far. So anyway, I sold a house that weekend. I figured out how to. It was the craziest thing ever. Anyway, so the tapes came. And when the tapes came, I was like, wow, that's really weird. I mean, they just like put them up against my door. I mean, like they delivered them to my door right there. So I remember hearing the doorbell ring, and I opened the door, and there was these Tony Robbins tapes. I was like, well, that's really weird. I mean, okay, so he really sent me these tapes. I don't have any credit on my credit card, and he just sent me these tapes. So I had my red Toyota Corolla, and I remember thinking, well, I'm going to take these tapes back because now I can go and get a new dress. Because, I mean, now I can get a new dress. That makes me feel better. So anyway, I'm driving down McMullen Booth Road, and I reached over to get the receipt out of the box, and I was like, well, I'm just going to send it back, which I never taken anything back, and I don't take stuff back. If I buy it, it's kind of mine. And I'm not a free girl at all, so like, no, I wanted to pay for these tapes. So anyway, so I get the receipt out. I'm like, I'm just going to listen to tape 1 and just see what tape 1 says, because, I mean, maybe I should listen to these things. I just won't tell anybody. So anyway, I put tape 1 in, and tape 1 says your past does not equal your future. What do you say, Tony? No, come on now. Come on now. Rewind. My past doesn't equal my future. Wow. You mean I have a choice? You mean I can do something different? For real? So I stopped my car on McMullen Booth Road, which is a 4-lane road. I don't know, the speed limit's like 50. It's not a super highway, but it's a busy road. I stopped my car. I know exactly where I stopped my car. And I got out and I walked around my car. And I got back in my car and I pushed the button to turn them back on. But before I did, I took all the tapes and everything and I hid it in a bag. Because I'm like, oh no, don't let anybody see I'm doing this. Because I knew there would be all kinds of persecution for me doing anything other than what my family told me I was supposed to do. So anyway, I put them in my bag. And I went directly to my office. I didn't go to the post office. I went directly to my office and I started cold calling. I'm like, hey, you need to buy or sell a house. And because I was on 100% commission, I had no money coming in other than the sell I had just made. And it was like, I know I have got to start selling and making money. So anyway, I started calling. That month I made $13,000 just from cold calling and selling open houses. I mean, I was unstoppable. I didn't know that I could change my tapes, right? My tapes in my mind of what my family had told me that was bullshit. But because it was them and it meant love, I believed them. So anyway, fast forward, here it is 2014. It's going to be 2015 tomorrow, like the next day. Anyway, I just got back from my first date with Destiny. I've attended, I think 3 or 4 Tony Robbins events, UPW, Coaches Academy, and my kids have attended, 2 of my children have attended 2 events. One of them went to the summer camp in California. And now here I am, a multimillionaire, the CEO of a software company. Are you serious? This is my destiny. This needs to be shared. This is for real. Get out of the way of yourself. Stand up, step on. Let's get on with it. And today is going to be an amazing day. But the thing is, that's amazing is that Tony showed me God. Some people say, well, he pretends like he's God. No, he doesn't. He shows me who God is, and God made me amazing. Are you kidding me? He made me more than enough. I mean, everything I have is within me now. It is written. It is already done. So my mission of my life is to go out and be a force for God, to share His love and light. And it is an option. It is an option for anyone and everybody. If someone's suicidal, get your eyes off yourself and go out and serve. Are you serious? There's nothing in this world that is greater than serving. And everything we can do is to go out. And God says to be His hands and feet. I mean, hello, I raise my hand to that. I want to be His hands and feet like today, tomorrow, and every day. I mean, it is so much fun. And then the amazing things that happen is that, while I'm a multimillionaire financially, my children are my biggest gift to me, because my children is what makes me wealthy. And 4 grandchildren. Are you kidding me? These babies. Oh my gosh. So I want to share that testimony. I want to get it out in mainstream. I want people to know that, if your family told you something, it might not necessarily be true. So challenge those thoughts and beliefs and find out what God made you. He didn't make a mistake by making you. He made His perfect design as you, and He has a place in His perfect design for you to be. And so find out what that be is and go and be that. And let's change this world.